This is the introduction to our percent unit. Percents are very special numbers that we use for a lot of things. A percent is a special ratio that is always compared or out of or referred to as per 100. So as opposed to a unit rate being a ratio that is always per 1%, is a ratio that is always per 100. A big question we often have is, why would we have percents? Why do we need to have numbers represented this way? Percents are very helpful in helping us to compare numbers or things or relationships that have different wholes, different whole amounts. For example, if I was comparing the scores on a couple of quizzes that were worth a total different amount. For example, quiz number 1, I received a 19 out of 25. Quiz number 2, not as long of a quiz, I got a 4 out of 5. Which score would be better, 19 out of 25 or 4 out of 5? Well, written that way, it's not as clear what's a better score. But if we write them as percents, we can compare them more easily because they will both be out of 100. And so then we can just look at those top numbers as opposed to comparing 19 and 4. 19 seems like a better score, but since it's out of a different total, am I sure that that's better or not? So how do we turn something that's in a fraction form or a ratio form into that percent form, that per 100? Well, what we do is we make it into a ratio that is per 100. We can make equivalent ratios. So one way that we can do this is we set up a proportion. So remember that a proportion is when you have two ratios that are equal, but maybe have different amounts that they are out of. So we're going to do that with these two quiz scores. So one of the quiz scores was 19 out of 25. The other quiz score was 4 out of 5. So we're going to take both of these and make them be out of 100, because then we can say that they are a percent. Whatever the number is out of 100, that's what they are as a percent form. So we're going to take and think about, how do we make 19 out of 25 be something out of 100 that's equal to 19 out of 25? There are lots of ways we can do that. We could look at them as like if they were equivalent fractions and see if there's a friendly relationship. Is there something times 25 that will equal 100? There is. We could just multiply by 4 and then do 19 times 4, and that would give us that top number. Or we could look and see and use the fact that when you have a proportion, your diagonal cross products have to be the same answer. So we could do 19 times 100 has to be equal to 25 times the missing number, and set that up like a simple equation, solve that and find that missing amount. So we'll do one of these because both of these fractions, both of these ratios have a friendly relationship with 100. So we'll do one of these using the friendly relationship, and the other one we'll do using those diagonal or cross products. So 25 times 100, 25 times 4 equals 100. So we're going to do 19 times 4, and that's going to equal 76. So 19 out of 25 is equal to a 76% because it's equal to 76 out of 100. Now, if we wanted to do a similar operation with 4 out of 5, 5 times 20 equals 100. So I already know 4 times 20 I can do fairly quickly. That's 80. I know that it's going to be 80%. But just so we can practice using those diagonals cross products, let's see how that looks if you use the cross products to set up an equation to find that missing amount, because not all ratios have that friendly relationship with 100 that we can just multiply and treat them like equal fractions. So when we look at the cross products, we're talking about 4 times 100 and then 5 times the missing amount. So 4 times 100 has to be the same product as 5 times the missing amount. So how do we solve that? Well, we simplify what we can. We can do 4 times 100, that's 400, and that has to be equal, we have to find what times 4. Oh, I put a wrong number, my apologies. That should be a 5 right there. Oops, easy to fix. All right, so 5 times something has to equal 400. How do we figure that out? Well, this is where we use equation solving and think about working backwards. So if 5 times something equals 400, then 400 divided by 5 will equal the something. So we do 400 divided by 5, and we get that that is 80. So that verifies what we would have found if we had used the friendly relationship, that 4 out of 5 is the same as 80 out of 100. In other words, it is equal to 80%. So you can use friendly relationships if they're available, or you can set up cross products and solve a simple equation to find what the percent amount would be that's equal to the original ratio. Now we can compare, because now it's very easy to see that 80% is a higher score than 76%. And we can just compare the 80 and the 76 because they are both out of 100. So as we do that, just as again to summarize, we can see that the score of 4 out of 5 is actually a higher score than 19 out of 25, because when they are both in percent form, they are both out of 100, and therefore they are easier to compare. At this point, you can now try the 3 examples in the Your Turn section of your notes, and we will go over those together in class.